eventually my cousin took me to a rave. Shout out to Sergio, aka Fireball, rave legend.
Oh yeah, I remember meeting Sergio.
Yeah, right. My cousin's like at the time he was definitely like a rave legend. Like he dressed up in these crazy tie-dye shirts and he has crazy like blonde like spikes that are like 1 foot high, and he had blue contacts. Like he had all the candy. Like he's OG candy kid, and people call him Fireball. And like we'd walk through the raves and like I had to stop hanging out with him I'm like, yo, too many people know you. I want to go dance. We got to stop and talk to like all these people, right?
So he's like rave famous?
He's rave famous, yeah, for sure. Like, like he's like, I'm going to bring you a rave. Yo, I keep it real. Like I was talking trash. Like I was like, man, I don't want to go to a rave. Like all these crazy ass like kids on drugs and like, like all the jingle pants. Like, I knew what I knew of it, right? I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And I was like, it's going to be whack, man. He's like, yo, cousin, just trust me. And once we got to the line on the rave, I think the first one was like 85th and Baldwin.
What party was this?
85th and Baldwin. Those are venues out in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
So like back then, we called the venues by like their locations, like 85th and Baldwin. Home base was like a Home Depot. Back in the day, it was a thing called Home Base. And it's kind of like a Home Depot, but it was empty.
Okay.
It went out of business.
Yeah.
So it was an empty ass warehouse. Like it was huge, right? Like you're talking about like, I don't know, 8,000 to 10,000 people. That was a bigger venue. I think like 2nd and Jackson and 85th and Baldwin.
And these are all Bay Area venues?
These are all, yeah, Oakland specifically.
Okay.
And at the time, like I remember just like once I went to the first rave, I was like, all right, man, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Like, oh shit. And then I think the second time, like the first time I went to Home Base was like the second rave. And I just saw, it's the first time seeing like 2,000 people on a line getting into a venue. I was like, what is this? Like I'm like, holy crap.
So like, what did you experience at that party or these parties that was different from what you thought it was and possibly different from how the East Coast was?
So I would say that, well, let me first say that rave culture is different than club culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, for those who don't know, right? So rave culture is probably what has, was born to like what you now know as festivals, right? Like Coachella and, those are even a little bit different than what the rave culture was like back then. Mm-hmm. They've transformed a bit. They're more commercialized. They're more organized. There's more money involved, right? And people interact similar, but maybe a little bit different, right? I haven't gone out that much to festivals.
Yeah, there's also like way more money involved.
It's way more money, right? And there's way more famous people. There's more influencers. There's all this other thing going on. But like, I was in the rave culture when like we were breaking a warehouse. Like I helped throw underground raves. Like, I think like what really changed me, honestly, would be like the house room.
Okay.
Because
it's like the house music room at these raves,
right?
Okay.
Because there, like back then, like what was big was like the house room. You have like a drum and bass / jungle room, right? And then you have a techno room. Not too many techno rooms, but sometimes. Or you have the trance room, right? And then eventually like happy hardcore. I'm not a fan. Happy hardcore took over and like led to other things like. For you, a lot of this turned into shuffling later on for you kids that don't know, right? Like then it went out to like Australia, it became the Melwood Shuffle, and Shuffle came back, and now it's like the rave dance, I would imagine, right? Mm-hmm. But the house room is where the ciphers were at. The house room is where the dancers were at. Poppers, b-boys, lockers, freestyles. In the Bay, they were called housers, right? So like it kind of came from a different culture before my time. But, like they would call them housers, and, the OG, like 90s Bay Area house dancers, like Housing Authority, like Patrick and Oscar, they came from the Amy Tsunami, like they're from that time. Right. I'm like, I moved here in 99 on Halloween. I can't say I'm from the 90s in the Bay Area. Like I'm from the 2000s, and beyond. But that's where like we would get down all night and just exchange. I was like, and like I totally fell in love. Like it's like dancing for like hours and hours, and just like everybody had a good time. And I remember my first couple of raves, like I would battle everybody. I think it was E-Rock. I met like a bunch of the B-boys from E-Rock because they were at all the raves. And like they were so good, man. They were doing like head tracks. Their power moves were so strong. Like Kumo, Mikey, I remember all these guys. But like they were just like not like the B-boys I'm used to. Like, you know, they were like, yeah, they'll throw moves, but like, what's up, dude? Like they're just like, you know, like
So there was like a level of openness.
totally. I mean, they were ravers too. Like they're hardcore ravers at the same time as they're hardcore B-boys, you know? And like those two, they like represented those two cultures. And I was like, whoa, like I gotta stop being such a dick. Like people are cool here, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I remember like, you know, like be sitting down like, and like some random person just started talking to you like, hey, what's up, dude? I come from New York. So I'm like, oh, what do you want? Like, what are you trying to get from me? Like, what are you trying to hustle? You know, like, what is this guy talking? You don't know me. Like, what are you trying to talk to me? So it's like, pass me a bullet. You want to smoke? Okay. You know, and